previous videos, we demonstrate an example of assignment which is designed to facilitate the learning of the students. This is going to be a part of teaching and learning activities as well as the assessment of a course. We briefly go through the content of the assignment, the scope of the works of the assignment, as well as the requirements from the students. We also discuss about the considerations and the purposes of certain tasks as required in the assignment. Everything comes with purposes. If possible, you optimize the entire assignment in order to maximize the quality of learning by the students. You will need to monitor accordingly to see what you anticipate the students should have gone through does happen in the reality, and you need to always review your assignment, fine-tuning it, make it more effective for the maximum quality of learning experience. Now, designing the content of the assignment is one part. This alone is insufficient. We will have to consider for the OBE part, outcome-based educations, where we're going to deal with CO and PO, course outcome and the program outcome. And then under engineering program, as specified in the graduate attributes, certain components needs to be incorporated. This includes the knowledge and attitude profiles, complex engineering problem, complex engineering activities, and also sustainable development goals. All this has to be in line with the graduate attributes, where the relevant POs are designed in order to attain those. Now we're going to look into this. How can you deal with those? Your first step here, it will be looking at the course outcome. Let's say now for this course, which involves concrete design, there are 3 course outcomes. And for this course, there are various teaching and learning activities such as lecture, tutorials, assignment. There are also assessment such as the progress tests, assignment, final examinations, presentations. Now, different teaching and learning activities and assessment may deal with different course outcomes. So you will have to plan your teaching and learning activity and the assessment in order to attain to the respective course outcome accordingly, which in this case, this assignment is designed to fulfill the course outcome 2 and course outcome 3. There should be elements of analysis of the loads involved in the structural design. There shall be elements of designing the details of reinforced concrete structural elements. And if you see the content of the assignment, it is entirely meant for these 2 learning outcomes. Then you will need to observe the course outcome mapped to program outcome based on the mapping in the course outline or course syllabus. CO1 is for PO1, CO2 for PO2, and CO3 is for PO3. Now you do not deal with CO1, instead you're dealing with CO2 and CO3. That means your assignment now is also attending to PO2 and PO3. What are PO2 and PO3? PO2 is related to graduate attribute WA2. PO3 is with WA3. We have discussed about these graduate attributes in our previous video. Now it is related to problem analysis and also design or develop solutions. Now within the statement here, there are complex engineering problems. Therefore, you know that this assignment will have to be designed with complex engineering problems. And then it is also specified that WA2 and WA3 shall cover WK1 to WK4 and WK5. You will need to refer to the knowledge and attitude profile WK1 to WK5. This may involve natural science and social science, mathematics, engineering fundamentals, specialist knowledge, and also engineering design and operations. Most likely, you are dealing with specialist knowledge and also engineering design and operation. There will be a lot of calculations. Of course, you need some mathematics. There should be analysis. Of course, they will rely on certain engineering fundamentals. And if you have some additional consideration incorporated within the assignment, there could be social science. Since there is too much to fulfill, maybe we just keep it focused, which is WK4 and also WK5. And this just fit nicely with PO2 and PO3. Since it is stated that there is a requirement in terms of the complex engineering problem, then you will have to refer to the definitions and attributes of complex engineering problem. We discussed about this complex engineering problem also in our previous videos. You may refer to those. Now, the complex engineering problem will have WP1 as compulsory, and then at least 2 of WP2 to WP7. Therefore, when you want to design your assignment, make sure you incorporate all this. You don't have to have all WP2 to WP7. The minimum number, it will be at least 2. You will have to look into the component here. Make sure you have the relevant component in the assignment, and those components shall not be bypassed by the students in completing the assignment. So this is what you can do. You may look into the definitions and study the components of those WP and give justifications in terms of the components available. Now you know reinforced concrete design can be considered as specialist knowledge. Then provide justifications. You also want to deal with engineering design and operations. Then you have to justify you have those components. Since we have drafted the basic content of the assignment, and when you look into the complex problem solving, especially for WK5 here, the design part is okay, but there is a requirement on SDG, Sustainable Development Goal, which if you refer to the content as required from the students, there is no relevant components. That means your assignment is still lacking of Sustainable Development Goals. You need to come up with some way to have those incorporated. Let's say now you want to incorporate the Green Building Index as a part of the requirement for the design. Then those things should be clearly outlined and specified in the project handout later. You cannot declare something that is not available in the project handouts. Also, you cannot declare something that you cannot prove. If you would like the students to have Green Building Index and you want the students to do some self-assessment in terms of the Green Building Index score for that particular project, then make sure later in the design report you have to incorporate those as a part of the requirement. This is so that the students will not miss that in the assignment. Therefore, probably you add in one more components regarding Green Building Index and self-assessment. And then you will have to look into some other complex problem solving attributes. See if you can get another 2 out of WP2 to WP7. Of course, you can declare to have as many as you wish. Now, the more component there, the more complex the assignment is. And when you have so much to justify, you yourself might have difficulty to manage that assignment. Same goes to the students. Normally, I would like to play safe since it is compulsory to have WP1. Then I make sure there are WP1. and then I go for additional 2 to 3 to make myself comfortable with the level of complexity. As for the others, I shall leave it to the other courses. For more detail about complex engineering problem solving, you may refer to the previous videos. Next, you need to check whether you need the complex engineering activities, which in this case, the course outcome are meant for PO2 and PO3. No complex engineering activities is required. It is only required with PO9, which is related to WA9 about communications, clearly stating the complex engineering activities. Since you do not require complex engineering activities, then you may leave this blank. Nevertheless, we still have presentations, which has been made compulsory by the CQI committee, that they want to equip the students with good communication skills. They make compulsory all the courses to have presentations as a part of the assignment, and therefore the communication part will be considered implicit. You may choose to do some measurement for that, or you can just simply leave it there as part and parcel of the assignment. Since it is not related to PO9, we can simply omit the complex engineering activities. The definitions and attributes of complex engineering activities are given here. You need at least 2 of these attributes in order to have complex engineering activities justified. We discussed about this also in our previous videos. For more details information, you may refer to those videos. Now that we know the specification already, this assignment is dealing with CO2 and CO3, which is meant to attend to PO2 and PO3. There shall be WK4 and WK5. There will also be complex engineering problem solving, but no complex engineering activity. And there is requirements on the sustainable development goals. So you will have to design the assignment accordingly. On top of the basic draft of the project handout, make sure you also incorporate the SDG component in the requirements, as well as the scope of the works. After that, you have to make clear to the students regarding how they can score well for the assignment. This comes to the rubrics. We're going to discuss in details about the rubrics later. This is just to show you that the assessment rubrics should be made clear to the student as well. And the student should also be educated how to read through those rubrics. There will be rubrics for assignment reports, plus the structural plans, and another rubrics for performance criteria. From the practical perspective, we will need to identify the criteria, not too many, focusing on the critical aspects. If you have too many criteria there, later when come to the assessment, it is very time consuming. Now, if the criteria is too limited, there could be bias. Now, the assessed outcome may not truly reflect the levels of understanding of the students. This defeats the purpose of doing assessment in order to determine the level of understanding. And when you design the assignment rubrics, make sure you clearly specify the course outcome that each criteria is supposed to attend to. Let's say now analyzing engineering problem, which in this case, it should be CO2. Design solutions for engineering problem shall be CO3, and so on so far. Also, you should make known to the students what are the ultimate requirements, how the students can score well for their assignments. The performance criteria should be explicitly indicated. This is about the assessment rubrics. And then remember that we mentioned that we would like the students to have planning and executions of the project as a part of the components of the assignment. Having this as a part of the learning outcome, make sure you have something to prove. Therefore, we will require the students to have those incorporated in their report, which the students may not have an idea how they can deal with that. Probably you can give some guidance to the students. You want the elements of planning and also executions for the assignment. What you can do here is, in the first week, when you give the assignment, you ask them to form a group and then discuss their planning. They can define the milestones as a part of the planning. You may ask them to submit their milestones after they have done the planning. And then, within the semesters, you would like them to show the progress. There will be planning part and there will be executions. Probably you would like them to make it more explicit to clearly indicate who is the person in charge of different tasks. You can have some other ways to do it. Now the bottom line here is, whatever that you declare to have those within the learning outcome, make sure there are always mechanisms to facilitate that, and there should be evidence. So at the end of the semester, the students will compile their milestones and their actual progress, and the persons contributing and carrying out the progress. Then you will see the entire pictures about their learning process. Remember previously we mentioned, students can easily make up this, just for the sake that the report looks nice. In fact, if you really want to deal with it, it is not difficult for you to identify whether this thing is being made up. You can observe the logical sequence here, and also you can observe the tasks and the components here, whether it is in line with the works as shown in the reports. And then you may also refer to the person in charge. Later compare with the list of the contributions by the students, since we would like to facilitate the teamwork and also contributions of each group member that has been specified as a part of their job scope. Now, if the information given here contradicting with the contributions of the members, you may have some ideas whether they are telling the truth. Now, first thing first, do you really need to go into that detail? Your purpose is to facilitate the learning process. You want all the students experience the learning. Your intention is not really to penalize the students. Also, you are not sure, probably they miss out certain components that they may not have really good documentations and tracing system. There could be some minor contradictions between the informations provided in the progress of report and also contributions of each member. It is also possible that these two reports are produced by two different members. So personally, I will not penalize the students, even though they may look suspicious. Either way, I will get the students to experience through the learning. It is either they plan it up front in the early of the semester, or they trying to make up at the end of the semester. They will still need to think about the proper sequence. There shall be a process of reflections, what they did over the semester, and then they start to streamline everything and make it in the reasonable sequence. Now, either they do it in the early of the semester, or they do it at the end of the semester. It doesn't really matter, because the component of planning and executions has already been incorporated. One is planning ahead, another one is postmodern by definition, and then there will be a process of review and reflections. They went through this, they done that, and they put it in the documentation. To me, this is another part of the good learning. So either way, I will reach to my ultimate goal and purpose of facilitation. So there is no point for me to penalize the students. We have to be very clear that what we are doing. Next, we would like to incorporate the teamworks, which we require the students to give contributions of the group members. Students may not provide you sufficient information as you wish. Therefore, you can create a template to the students or give the students some samples, some guideline. Make sure they will not miss certain important informations which you feel is essential for your future improvement of your assignment. So normally I will ask the students to list their contributions of each members in order to demonstrate good teamwork and to demonstrate they actually distribute the assignments tasks among the members. I will need to supervise the students and teach them how to make these to be specific, measurable, logical, and also to identify whichever is significant. Taking this as an example, these are the members. Probably there is a group leader and probably there is an editor. And then the rest serve as the typical members. Now I will ask them to outline the task to make it specific and measurable. Specific means what are the things specifically that they have done. Make it clear. And measurable, it would be there should be some quantifications measured to determine the amount of work. And then I will ask them to outline the durations that they spend for each task. Based on the amount of work and also the duration here, we may also observe the logical correlations. From there, we have some measures to determine whether they have met out the information. And then you know these durations are typically estimations. So normally we will not be too harsh on the students. Normally we won't go to penalize the students if the number seems to be illogical. And based on the task carried out by the students, we may also do some simple cross-check in terms of the progress here to have an idea the learning process that the students went through, trying to complete the assignment. With that, we have mechanism to cross-check the learning process that we anticipated the students would have gone through. Is it really reflecting the actual situation? If the answer is yes, then that is good. But if the answer is no, then we will have to look back to our design of the assignment and then see if anything that we can do to facilitate the process. This will be a part of the CQI later. Another thing, I will ask the students to quantify the total time spent for the assignment for each group member and ask them to compute the total and average durations per student. Why is this important? This goes back to the justifiable SLT. We would like to cross-check if we have over-designed the assignment beyond the justifiable range. What you see here, designing an assignment might seem to be simple, but if you really think in depth, you will see that there are so many aspects that you need to cover. Everything serves a purpose. There is a lot of facilitations and supervisions involved. It is not as simple as giving the assignment handout and that's it. The rest, leave it to the students. And ultimately, it will end up to be disaster. Students did not experience true good learning, and you will have the assessment done inaccurately, which you may not know that it is not really reflecting the actual situation. And if you are creative enough, you can actually design the assignment to always meet the intended purposes, no matter how the students respond to it. For example, this one. Whether they do it in the early of the semester or they do it at the end of the semester, they are still learning how to plan and execute the progress. Your purpose still achieved, and they will not bypass the relevant learning components. Now that we have show an example how the assignment is designed. Probably you can have a look on yours. Think about how you can deal with your assignment. And normally you will expect designing an assignment is not one-time job. You will have to fine-tune along the way until it is fully optimized. Semester by semester, it becomes more and more effective. And you always need to get the feedbacks and the review from the students for you to quickly determine and have an idea what is actually happening during the learning process. With that, all the best and good luck.